So I wanted to respond to an article on how Ozempic and Wegovy could break the healthcare system. Because now if you have these weight loss drugs that are actually helping people lose weight, and so now insurance companies and Medicare and now have to pay for all this medication, which is very, very expensive. It's over $1,000 a month. On one hand, you might think, well, wow, if someone loses weight, they'll have so many less problems health-wise, right? But with Ozempic and Wegovy, it comes with a package. I mean, I know people taking it now are developing endocrine problems, thyroid issues, muscle issues. You see, the big problem is that this solution comes with a package. It comes with bigger problems. The healthcare system is already broken. The system focuses on treating symptoms and giving you side effects, which you then need more treatments for. Honestly, I think the greatest thing that someone could do is get on the ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting, and they wouldn't need to be taking medications over and over and over for the rest of their life. If you want to know how to do it in a healthy way, go to drberg.com right now.
I just left the doctor's office. I went to get a checkup because I've been off of Ozempic for 2 months now, and I just wanted to see if my body was in better condition, if there were any permanent damages. Kind of in shock right now because I wasn't expecting this, but I guess Ozempic can cause bone density loss, and I didn't think that that would happen to me because I was only on it for a year, but I have significant bone loss. I have osteoporosis and osteopenia, so that I don't know, there's like several of them that I have. I wasn't expecting that, but that's what happens if you use Ozempic for weight loss and you lose too much weight.
Okay, I'm saying all of this with absolutely no hate towards my husband. I know he's going to see this. Love you, honey. But I just saw a video talking about the competition of weight loss and like diet culture in offices. And while I do know of a couple of men who have been a part of this conversation and like actually weighed their employees, like they were in a management position and they were having their employees weighed in his office because he was doing a weight loss competition. Not gonna go there. I recently really kind of crashed out about Ozempic, and this was in front of other people who had also had experience with Ozempic being an issue. But my husband was like, I didn't know you had such a problem with it. And I'm like, it's everywhere. It's literally, it's all in my face all the time. Weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. Every single woman I know is becoming like this. And this is just another thing that women are dealing with. I can genuinely say I didn't know how big of a difference it was until he didn't know how much it was affecting me. And I wasn't super talking about it all the time, but I kind of just assumed everybody else was being inundated with this. No, women are. Women are the ones being inundated with weight loss information. They want us small, they want us weak, they want us stressed, they want us to only be thinking about our bodies and what we are being perceived as by them. As hard as it is for me too, lady.
What if the dark side of Ozempic isn't the injection itself, but everything people stop talking about once the weight starts coming off? For the last few years, Ozempic has gone from a diabetes medication to one of the most talked about weight loss drugs in the world. Some people call it life-changing, others call it dangerous. And honestly, the truth probably lives somewhere in the middle. Here's where the conversation gets messy.
Ozempic, semaglutide, GLP-1 agonists. These were approved around 2005 to help with type 2 diabetes, successfully so. Of recent sort, though, with FDA approval, it's been now applied towards weight loss. But total weight loss isn't just fat. Do understand it also accounts for lean tissue. Lean tissue also accounts for supportive tissue. That's that Ozempic face you start seeing when the face looks gaunt. Yeah, the wrong type of tissue being lost.
I very rarely discuss medication on my page, but I can't understand for the life of me why personal trainers with no medical training think they can discuss the complexities of medication on social media. I can see why he blocked me 2 years ago. I'm school. The biggest issue here is he's claiming that semaglutide would lead to a greater loss of muscle than you would see from diet and exercise. That's absolutely not true. In the Step 1 trial, subgroup analyses of patients having DEXA scans, in the semaglutide group we see they lost 10.4 kilograms of fat and 6.9 kilograms of lean mass. That's almost 40% of the weight loss coming from lean mass, compared to the placebo group who lost 1.2 kilograms of fat mass and 1.5 kilograms of lean mass, which is more than 55% of weight coming from lean mass. So they lost more muscle than the semaglutide group. The biggest factors that will determine whether you preserve lean mass when losing weight will be your protein intake and whether you resistance train or not. Of course, there are potential side effects with any lifestyle or medical intervention. So please talk to your doctor about weight loss medications and don't get your medical advice from personal trainers online. Class dismissed.
Ozempic has officially stopped being the magic pill and is now shredding bones. So this is one of those cases where the headline does not tell the full story, but don't worry, that's what I'm here for. These articles are claiming that Ozempic is causing a 30% increase in osteoporosis, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically your bones degrading and weakening over time. Osteoporosis is extremely common in people who stop working out. They end up losing all of their muscle mass, and in turn, they lose their bone density. And despite what a lot of people think, those that are overweight actually have a decent amount of muscle mass. And that is because they are doing a sort of form of resistance training all throughout the day. They physically have to carry more weight. So, their legs are stronger, their glutes, their quads, and even part of their upper body. So if you lose all of this weight with Ozempic and you're not supplementing it with weightlifting, your body no longer has that resistance. So your muscles, they go on vacation. Your bones, they kind of degrade. And that is the real reason why the risk of osteoporosis goes up. It's not the Ozempic itself, it's from the rapid weight loss. Putting all of the blame on the drug is completely unfair in my opinion, and I still think it's a net positive because we know the effects of being overweight. It is one of the #1 killers in America. So if you're on Ozempic or you thought about it and are worried now because you've seen all these scary headlines, don't be. If you start taking it, just make sure you keep up with your weightlifting and resistance training, and also make sure you hit your protein goal. If you combine these two things, you should be perfectly fine and you shouldn't have an increased risk of osteoporosis.
Every woman I know on Ozempic said the same thing after she stopped taking it, and it broke my heart every single time. She said, I gained it all back, or I feel worse than before I started. Now, this is not a side effect. This is the design. Ozempic only works while you're on it. Once you stop, your body goes back to exactly where it was, which is hormonally chaotic, metabolically the same, but now you're missing muscle. The drug didn't actually fix anything. It just overrode your hunger signal with chemistry. And once the chemistry stops, the hunger signal comes back, but louder. Meanwhile, a body that's been genuinely reprogrammed both hormonally and metabolically doesn't need a prescription to maintain the results. The results are the body now. The weight doesn't come back because the conditions that created it are no longer there. That's what real change looks like. Not a lifetime subscription, a transformation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daniela Astor. I help women specifically reprogram their bodies on the hormonal level so their results are theirs to keep. No prescription required. I'm offering a free call. Let's build you something that...
You'll hear people say Ozempic melts fat, but what often gets left out is that rapid weight loss can also mean losing muscle if you're not eating enough protein or doing resistance training. And that's a big deal because muscle isn't just for looking athletic. It's important for strength, metabolism, and healthy aging. Then there are the side effects. Some people report nausea, constipation, fatigue, or stomach issues.
1 year ago, I was diagnosed with osteoporosis after shooting myself up with Ozempic for a year. So a recent study came out last month linking osteoporosis and Ozempic. Clearly, I'm not the only one that this has happened to, and we need to talk about it. One thing I want to clear up is that it's not really the drug itself. It is the rapid, unnatural weight loss caused by the drug, which can then result in loss of muscle, bone, osteoporosis, and anorexia. And ultimately, it was my brain that decided that I wasn't good enough. I feel so conflicted about this drug. I don't want to be the reason that somebody who is overweight and could really benefit from this drug doesn't take it. While it might have helped to destroy my body, I do think that it could save someone else's. Like any drug that's ever existed, there are side effects, and you need to decide personally if the side effects are worth the risk to you. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people like me in LA who are just using the drug to lose a quick 10 pounds. Have you seen the Grammys lately? I can't even watch it. We're setting this new standard for young girls to be so insanely skinny. I have no doubt that there are some of them that already have given themselves osteoporosis. They probably just don't know it yet because there aren't really side effects. I only knew because I happened to go to a random primary care doctor who happened to be a bone specialist. I literally could just be walking down the street, trip, fall over, break my spine, become paralyzed, potentially die. That's the reality that I live in, and I did that to myself, and I have to live with that now. Is being skinny really worth dying for? For me, no, it's not. I made the wrong choice. But I think the even bigger question that everyone's missing is, do you want to rely on a drug for the rest of your life? Or do you want to build a life with healthy coping skills and good habits? It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and
I have struggled with binge eating disorder long before I ever struggled with body dysmorphia or anorexia. Trust me, I get it. Ozempic is like a relief to your brain, and it makes life easier. But here in America, we also live in a culture where we're addicted to shortcuts. There's something for weight loss, something for focus, something to go to sleep at night. And the people that are telling us that we need these things are making so much money from it. I just think it's funny how in countries where healthcare isn't a big booming business, people don't seem to struggle with addictions the way that we do. Like, is everyone in Japan shooting themselves up with Gila monster venom? They're out there living their lives, doing it the natural way, the way that our ancestors did, and they're living longer than us. That's the part that really bothers me. I personally don't believe I was born with food addiction. I believe that this lifestyle, this culture just doesn't work for me. I feel like people here, they cheat to be better than the person next to them. And in the end, we're all just cheating ourselves. That's not to say Ozempic is good or bad. I think you just have to consider who you want to be and the life that you want to live.
Ozempic has officially stopped being a magic pill and is now shredding bones. New studies have come out showing that GLP-1 drugs increase the risk of osteoporosis by about 30%. Osteoporosis is a disease that makes your bones become weak and brittle. But here's the real question. Is the drug doing this directly, or is there something much more concerning going on? Ozempic is a drug that people take to artificially suppress their appetite and essentially force weight loss. The type of people who resort to Ozempic are usually people who have tried losing weight naturally and failed. So presumably, these people aren't eating nutrient-dense diets to begin with. So on Ozempic, they might go from eating 3,000 calories of nutrient-devoid food to 1,000 calories of nutrient-devoid food. Sure, this will help you lose weight, but you're simultaneously tanking your micronutrient intake. Now, what are some of the primary causes of osteoporosis? Nutrient deficiencies, things like calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, 3 nutrients that people already struggle to consume enough of as is.
I've seen the viral videos where everyone wants to be on this stuff because they think there will be a class action lawsuit one day and they want to be around for the payout because it'll be better than any retirement savings they've come up with. I'm an award-winning nutritionist and I'm going to teach you why this stuff earned itself that reputation. In order for you to understand, really quickly, I have to teach you how it works. Ozempic is a GLP-1 receptor agonist. It's mimicking the action of the natural GLP-1 hormone in your body. And this hormone plays a crucial role in your appetite regulation. So GLP-1 actually is a thing that helps to keep you full. But the natural version of GLP-1 only lasts a few minutes in the body, which is why you can eat a lot of food, feel really full, and then a few minutes later you could potentially eat some more if you wanted to. This stuff right here acts on the GLP-1 receptors in your brain. And instead of lasting only a few minutes, it lasts hours. Why people who are taking this A, can't eat very much, and B, feel full for a very long time after they've eaten a meal. So obviously this helps them to eat less and to have less cravings because their brain believes that they are full and that they are satiated. Now, this stuff also slows down the rate at which food is actually leaving your stomach, and that's a big problem. The longer food sits in your digestive system, the more likely you are to be reabsorbing toxins throughout your system from that waste. Toxins are backing up in your colon and in your intestinal tract, and here is prime proof. If you were to book an appointment at a colonics clinic and they know that you're on this drug, they need to see you for 75 minutes instead of 45 minutes because of that extra backup. Toxic overload leads to systemic inflammation, the digestive system that is not functioning properly. This is from Ozempic's own website. The very first thing that you should know about taking this is that it may cause serious side effects, including possible thyroid tumors and cancer. They are very open about the fact that in studies with rodents, Ozempic and medications that work like Ozempic actually cause thyroid tumors, including thyroid cancer. And over here, we've also got some pretty serious side effects that, although they are not as extreme as cancer, they are still pretty serious. So inflammation of your pancreas, changes in your vision, low blood sugar, kidney problems, allergic reactions. Bottom of the list says gallbladder issues. So I want to be very clear that I am not bashing this medication and that this is absolutely a helpful tool for people who have really serious blood sugar issues like diabetes. But all this right here is why people think there will be a class action lawsuit against this company.
Let's tell the truth. Ozempic, 10 years from now, what are the 3 things we see coming? Yeah, I would imagine there's going to be the 3 F's of a failure of Ozempic to address. We're going to be more frail, we're going to be fatter, and we're going to be mentally fragile. Now, why would a scientist state such bold declarations? Let's look at the fatter. Few people appreciate that some of the most common of these GLP-1 weight loss drugs in part act by stimulating the growth of new fat cells. Now, you're listening and thinking, yeah, but I lost 50 pounds. Sure, because your fat cells were getting smaller, but you were actually making potentially more fat cells. So when you get off the drug someday and you start eating the way you were before because you never actually learned how to eat differently, you're going to gain all that fat back and you have more fat cells so you could go further. So we'll be fat.
And sicker fat cells, so you become insulin resistant.
They get bigger and bigger, and the fatter fat cell is insulin resistant and pro-inflammatory, so inflamed. And so that's the fatter. The frail part kind of goes along with it, which is 40% of the weight that people lose on these drugs appears to come from lean mass. That's muscle and bone, and that is not something we gain back very well. So imagine again, when the day comes, 70% of people on these drugs get off them at 2 years. So let's say 2 years in, you get off. That muscle and bone may not ever come back, depending on your age and your sex. The fat's going to come back very happily, but it's a quirk of human physiology. The muscle and the bone may never come back. So we're again fatter and frail because our muscles and bones are weaker and smaller, and now we're going to have a harder time just living life and getting up and about.
And fragile.
Yes, so fragility of the mind in particular. A paper was just published as we record this at the beginning of 2025 that found that the risk of suicidal behaviors doubles on these drugs, and the risk of major depression, I don't mean just feeling a little glum on some day or another, but major depression triples on these drugs. So we are putting ourselves in a we're putting together all the variables of a perfect storm of mental fragility, frailty of the muscle and skeletal system, and then fatter because of the expansion of new fat cells.
People need to wake up, man. How many times are you going to get fooled by the same playbook?
And let's not ignore the bigger picture. Social media has turned thinness into a trend again. Suddenly, everyone seems to be asking the same question. Should I be taking Ozempic too? That's a dangerous place to make health decisions because viral videos aren't the same as personalized medical advice. None of this means Ozempic is good or bad. For people with type 2 diabetes or certain medical conditions, GLP-1 medications can be incredible.
You lazy bitches took the easy way out, even though Kris Jenner tried to warn y'all. Just listen.
I did not do like an Ozempic. I tried it. We tried it once when no one knew what it was. And it made me really sick. I called her up one day and I go, I can't work anymore. I can't. I'm so sick. I can't, like, nauseous. And so she goes, okay, let's.
As someone who's taking GLP-1s, I can admit they're incredible. But why does no one talk about the side effects?
FDA has issued a warning letter to the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy. The agency says Novo Nordisk failed to report potential side effects in patients who took its blockbuster medications.
If you don't want that celebrity Zempi face or saggy skin, listen to what these 2 doctors recommend.
So astaxanthin is an absolute powerhouse. If you want to take your beauty regimen to the next level and really transform your beauty from the inside out, but these fat-soluble antioxidants like astaxanthin are very, very powerful when it comes to really nourishing your skin. And when we're talking about skin hydration, when we're talking about skin elasticity, when we're talking about supporting those, when you're getting those deep lines in your skin, really improving that, any of those issues we're talking about, it's important that you're getting astaxanthin in your diet.
Now, before you run out and get astaxanthin, quality matters. I asked my doctor which one to take, and this is the one he recommended me. The reason he likes this is because A, there's no weird fillers, and 2, they're third-party tested and manufactured in a GMP facility, which means everything that they say is in here is actually in here. Not only that, they've sold over 100,000 bags of this and have a ton of 5-star reviews. Right now, they've got a promotion going on where you can get a 4-month supply of astaxanthin, and when you order today, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, which means the only thing you're actually risking is the 30 seconds it takes to try this supplement. And when you order today, you also get free shipping. Look, I don't know how long this promotion is going to last, but if this is something you're interested in trying, I'll do you a favor and leave you a link below.
The one side effect I was warned about on Ozempic was that if I overate, I would projectile vomit. That's never happened. But here's what's actually happened. There are 5 side effects I've experienced while being on these medications. That is nausea, fatigue, diarrhea, that's always a fun one, migraines, and constipation. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot, but I promise it isn't. We've almost been on this for 2 years, and I would say out of the 2 years, 10 to 15 times, if even, I've experienced these things. The worst of the side effects would definitely be the migraines and the constipation. I had a migraine so bad once that I was down bad on the couch, literally in tears. I'd never experienced a migraine like that before. We're gonna get a little TMI with this one, but what is there to do? The worst other side effect I experienced was constipation. I was constipated so bad to the point where I thought I was actually going to have to go into the emergency room. So I learned 2 very valuable lessons from those 2 major side effects that I had. First, staying on top of your water and your fiber intake is so important because these medications do cause constipation. And girl, they get bad. So I've never been constipated that bad again since. 2, staying on top of your water and electrolytes. That'll definitely help prevent migraines. So while I was told projectile vomiting was my biggest concern being on GLP-1 medications, that has quite literally never happened. But I have found remedies and ways to help with the other side effects. So if you're experiencing any side effects and you need some help or some advice, definitely drop your questions down below.
Those who do not study consumer abuse are destined to themselves become abused consumers. So let's talk about GLP-1 and their long-term plan for you and your grandma. In order to tell the story, I have to reference the 4th largest mass tort currently happening in America, and that is of over 11,500 Black women who are suing companies like L'Oreal, Oars, Dark and Lovely, and many others for marketing and selling products that they were well aware caused ovarian cancer. In 2024, the National Institute of Health, the NIH, conducted a study of over 33,000 women, and they found conclusively that using chemical hair straighteners as little as 4 times a year doubled your risk of getting ovarian cancer. That sounds pretty bad, but it is infinitely worse when you know, like most Black women do, that these products recommended consumers use them up to twice a month. These products were marketed 93% to Black women and girls, and that's no accident. This is an ongoing discussion that has been had, but it is the, I would say, crucible of every argument against fashion being political. If fashion is not political, then why have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Black women and little girls been pressured into straightening their hair with chemicals that we now know for certain to cause cancer? I'll wait. So what the hell does this have to do with GLP-1s? In the grand scheme of the pharmaceutical industry, GLP-1s are quite new to the market, and this means we do not have longitudinal studies for how they impact people. What we do know for sure is that Ozempic and other GLP-1s carry the largest ever on-box warning for thyroid cancer. We also know that they increase your risk of retinal damage and long-term vision loss, particularly if you have diabetes. The through line here is the imposition of Eurocentric beauty standards of thin, straight, petite, white, being held up not just as the normal, but as the ideal, as the thing you should seek to achieve. GLP-1s are designed in the exact same way that chemical hair straighteners are designed to shame you for your natural state of being, to convince you that if you take this drug or apply this chemical, you will be seen as respectable and attractive, and that if you do not conform to the standards imposed by their marketing campaigns, you will be seen as unattractive, unhealthy, and undesirable. Worse, unemployable. If you think this isn't serious, you're wrong. If you think this will be easy to litigate, I encourage you to wait until 2027 when that mass tort goes to court. And if you think people aren't going to die, you're wrong. Literally thousands of women have already died. We have no idea what GLP-1s will do to us. So bear that in mind.
In a better world, an increase in access to weight loss drugs and an increase in grocery prices would lead to a decrease in this thin is in content, as well as an increase in body positivity, body neutrality, acceptance environment. But I somehow feel like these things are actually going to reinforce the obsession with thinness and skinniness that exists in our society. The whole point of a beauty standard is that it's unattainable and it's exclusive. And even with increased grocery prices, the cheapest food options are still going to be the ultra processed foods that are going to cause your body harm and most likely lead to obesity. They're going to be calorically dense and void of nutrients. So these are foods that are very likely to make you gain weight because they don't fill you up and they're also full of calories. And so obesity or inhibiting a larger body will still probably be able to be viewed as a class indicator. It's possible that gym bodies become even more revered, but when the powers that be are determining what is going to be the next hot look, they need something that is easily fabricated. It must be able to be fabricated. You can artificially make yourself thin by going and getting a tummy tuck or lipo, whatever. You can artificially make yourself have an hourglass figure. It is very hard to fake a very fit and lean body without actually putting in the work. We've all seen some people with their questionable ab sculpting and sketching. And while some people may just take the drawbacks, I think the point is that you want it to look like you didn't try. You want it to look like, oh, you're just naturally this skinny. You want it to look like, oh, I just naturally have these abs. You don't want people to see the calorie deficit and the thinning hair and the decaying teeth behind that. And so that's why I think even with more and more people getting into fitness, the ideal body type has still not changed from being very, very thin, and it hasn't gone to just being like lean or muscular. Comment down below what you feel like the next step is after thin may potentially no longer be it.
Hot take. Ozempic isn't fixing your weight problem. It's renting space in your body. Yeah, I said it. When did your body stop responding to you? You eat less, you're careful, you're disciplined, and the scale still climbs like it's mocking you. So suddenly the solution is just take Ozempic. Just turn off your hunger. Just inject and don't ask questions. Here's the part nobody tells women over 40. Your weight gain isn't a willpower issue. It's hormonal, metabolic, inflammatory. Ozempic doesn't fix that. It just makes you eat less while your body stays confused. Muscle loss, energy crashes, digestive chaos, and the second you stop, the weight comes right back, sometimes with friends. That's not healing. That's outsourcing the problem. Here's the unfair truth. After 40, your body plays by different rules. Your metabolism resists. Inflammation rises. Blood sugar gets messy. And fat sticks around no matter how hard you try. And doctors, they wave it off with, that's just aging. No, Linda, that's not aging. That's your biology being ignored. Here's the good news. And this part actually matters. Your body isn't broken. It's unsupported. After 40, your body needs support, not punishment, not starving, not injections, support. Super greens aren't magic. They help your body work the way it's supposed to. Spirulina and chlorella help calm inflammation and support metabolic health. Moringa delivers nutrients that support energy and blood sugar balance. Turmeric and ginger help reduce bloating and inflammation that keep fat stuck. And real leafy greens support digestion and nutrient absorption, which matters if you want your metabolism to wake up. But listen carefully. Most super greens are trash. Cheap fillers, sugar, doses so weak they do nothing. If you're going to support your body, do it right. I only use quality super greens, no fillers, real ingredients. They're linked in my bio. Stop fighting your body, support it. That's how real weight loss starts after 40.
I had a dream about last night. Yeah, a bunch of women I know were on it and completely losing touch with themselves to the point of becoming like those Barbies. They're like, yeah, here's your Booski Biracan. We are being sold pharmaceutical drugs that disconnect us from ourselves, that put us to sleep. And we need you to be awake. We are being sold beauty standards that come directly from pedophilic Hollywood and governmental culture. Pedophiles, babe. Smooth skin, no wrinkles, no body hair. You know who has no body hair? Children. You know who looks that skinny? People coming out of a concentration camp. We don't need you disconnected from your hunger cues. We need you connected. And we don't need you rail thin. We need you embodied. Please, for the love of God, do not be distracted. We need you to wake up, to be here, to be embodied. So stop letting them distract you.
Ozempic kills hunger, and that's one of the reasons it's causing people to lose weight. You need food to make hair and nails and muscles and hormones and neurotransmitters. In Eat Like a Girl, the new book that I'm putting out, there are 24 key nutrients that a woman needs to be able to make hormones. everybody I've talked to on Ozempic's like, I'm just not hungry anymore.
Correct. That's what I've heard too.
How is she going to get the 24? What's going to happen to the hormone of women? Okay, still not the only problem. We don't know what it does to the microbiome, and the microbiome is what is making serotonin that keeps us happy. The microbiome, there's a set of bacteria in our gut called the estrobolome that break estrogen down. So I want to know long term what Ozempic's going to do to the microbiome, because if we destroy our microbiome, you destroy your body and you destroy your mind. So where's the research on that? Still not the worst. The last one that I will tell you is that it's the empowerment piece. When I inject something into me and I lose weight, who do I give credit to?
Ozempic, you're codependent on Ozempic.
With the eating disorder stuff, I mean, I visibly was losing weight last year. So I felt like if I didn't address it, I feel like I was kind of doing a disservice. Also, like I was getting a lot of, polarizing commentary on my weight loss. A lot of people telling me I look so good, like this is the best I've ever looked, and a lot of people telling me I looked horrible. And I was just wanted to point out that I was, clearly underweight and going through something, and that like looking like this is nothing. I didn't want to like set that example for young girls or people following me that this is something they should strive to look like, because I felt like it was bad, and I felt like if I didn't say that and address it like that, then it would be kind of like an elephant in the room.
Well, and I think it's like it's definitely difficult now because Ozempic, GLP-1, all of these things are so heightened right now, and everybody wants to strive to be skinny.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. People literally say online now there's no excuse for anybody to be fat, which is such a hard mentality to grasp and to really like look at it as a whole, because aside from that, there's also people who struggle again with eating disorders and body dysmorphia.
Valuable under a doctor's supervision, but using any medication without understanding both the benefits and the risks, that's where problems begin. The real takeaway? If you're considering Ozempic, don't let TikTok, YouTube, or even this video make the decision for you. Have an honest conversation with your healthcare provider, ask questions, understand the potential side effects, and build habits that can support your health, whether you're on the medication or not. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just losing weight. It's building a healthier life that doesn't disappear the moment the prescription ends.